And that's what I liked about this post. I mean, yes, she talks about her overcoming the trauma of a narcissistic relationship, and I'm sure everyone in some way, shape, or form can relate to that. Um,
Uh, Agreed.
you know, but it's taking the time to realize that we can choose the option of being triggered, or we can choose the option of looking for the glimmer, of looking for the positive, looking for the joy.
Welcome to the Inner Compass, a place to get curious, explore God, the universe, and uncover your purpose. Together, we'll dive into values, alignment, growth, and the journey to becoming who you're meant to be. Let's discover and grow and thrive, starting from the heart. Follow us on YouTube and hashtag Leader of You Inner Compass.
Welcome to Leader of You, and welcome to the Inner Compass podcast. I have wonderful and beautiful Katie Miller and Ace Doligosa with me, my favorite girls in the world. And when we get together, it's raw and it's fun, it's information. It has a lot of nuggets, and I just, we have a great topic to talk about today. And it was from a post from Trish Lynn, a Canadian lady that's a friend of mine. She's also a podcaster and businesswoman who really posted something significant that impacts many people on many levels. I think it was extremely wise what she posted, probably more than she realized, but it was worth talking about. And it's really about the content that you post. And if you're looking for a certain response, success of it, and if your nervous system is not ready from coming from maybe a narcissistic relationship, escaping that, or trauma in your life, it could be a medical issue or something, but if your nervous system is not ready, you don't be communicating that without knowing that you're communicating, and you're putting all this effort into your marketing, and you're wondering why it's not resulting. It's because we're not healed or not aligned. So that gets to be the topic of today that we're going to work with, and it's I just find it very meaningful. And I'll start out and I'll read this post, and I encourage you to, if you're facing this, to connect with Trish Lynn, the Trish Lynn show. Uh, Go hook up with her and see this post and make contact if you're suffering from this, because she's really got a good handle on it. So what she posted was, most content marketing advice is BS, and why I do it differently. Let's get real. Most content marketing advice out there is not built for women who have survived toxic relationships. So she puts this big X mark by, just be consistent, okay, but what happens when your nervous system is wired for survival mode and showing up feels like stepping into a battlefield? And her next comment is again an X. Sell with confidence, cool, but how do you unlearn years of being silenced so your message actually lands with power? That's a good point. And another X, charge what you're worth. Love that for me, but what if every time I raise my prices, my body physically panics because success feels unsafe? And that's a legitimate fear, for real, because if you don't have experienced success, you don't know what it's like. And then she says, here's the truth, no one talks about: content isn't strategy. It's a nervous system work. It's healing. It's reclaiming your voice after years of being conditioned to shrink. I don't teach just content. I teach content that works for women like us, women who have fought to be seen, who are breaking cycles, and who are done playing small. And that goes for all of us. We don't know we're playing small a lot of times. It takes somebody from the outside to say you're playing small. I'll show you how to regulate your nervous system so visibility feels safe. That's the profound part right there. Visibility, feeling safe in an unsafe environment where you're coming from in that transition, being the real authentic you. So that's what we're discussing today on it. And I think that's worthy of a conversation, ladies. What do you think?
I think so too. And it's funny because Katie and I, like, I was actually telling a bunch of people recently, I'm getting a lot of narcissistic abuse survivors as clients recently. And as somebody who has gone through it, I understand it really well, like really well, to the point that I actually based my transformational coaching programs around it. A lot of the times it is the nervous system that's an issue for visibility. But what I find really important is that so many people out there have such a big mission to bring to the masses that the narcissistic abuse, the feeling of feeling small, is way too. It's like it's the blockage that we have to clear in order for other people to be healed from those who have those stories and those missions to share, right? For instance, there was this one woman. I had like an emergency client right after our last podcast, Katie, when their friend called me and they were like, okay, this person is like on the brink of like mental breakdown. She's already gone through so much. She's been committed to, to care at a hospital, and like she's back, but she's dying. And I remember when she came over, I was like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Well, let's see how we can help her. I didn't realize we're going to be reviving somebody who just came out of narcissistic abuse. Like she could not get up, did not want to eat, did not want to do anything. She just felt like she was drained and sad. And she is one of the most incredible painters I've ever met in my life, who has these incredible paintings that can save and heal people. And I think it's so important that we figure out a way to heal those systems. I've done it a little faster than normal. Katie helped in the process, by the way. She was part of the coaching program where she helped me understand where all of the pain, the trauma, the anger, all of that energy in my body was, so that we could release it through vision work. And then I had 5 other people within my network that I refer out to now who also helped heal me with brain spotting, which is a complex PTSD modality. To heal somebody's complex PTSD, which is usually what people go through after the narcissistic abuse. And then, of course, along with the other energy workers, we found ways to really actually get me back to life within, I want to say 6 weeks, Katie.
It was about 6.5 weeks. Yes.
Yeah. It was great. And now I'm okay to be seen. Hi. What's up?
Love it. Peace and love. Well, we all kind of want to be that way, I would imagine, unless you're just intent on doing evil work. But, the world puts us in this situation. We allow it to put in their situation. We don't know how to get out of that situation. And a lot of times it's accepted. That's just the way it is. And that's hard. That's hard to break.
I understand. Yeah. But
yeah.
Go ahead. I was going to say, but what I've noticed, if your mission is that big, I'll bump into you. That's something that I started noticing. Like, I remember this person who literally down the street, they were going through something similar. She had a big mission where she's designing one of the most, can't say too much, one of the most amazing retreat centers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And she went through something similar. I came in and I supported her. And now she's coming back to alignment. Same thing with her other friends that she's been referring me to. It's really, I'll meet somebody in a lift, same thing. They have a big mission. No matter what, if you have that feeling like something big is about to happen because you are meant to do something big, you'll find the right people who will help you get out of it, even if you can't see it yet.
Then I agree. Yeah, I really agree with that. The vision it's a huge part of it. And mentorship is the other component to it. Or coaching will be a major component to it. Because, like we said, we don't see certain things. We don't know we're existing in certain things unless, well, let's just put it this way. If you're fishing water, you don't know you're fishing water till you're out of the water. And then you start realizing that there is water and it's life sustaining, but you didn't know that until you came out of the situation. And a lot of that is, I'm sure, trapping and belief system, but this is the way it is. And you have a choice to actually come out of that. And then it becomes, how do I become my true self? I've gone through that process too. I've gone through and I lost my confidence in a lot of things in my life. And no matter what I did, it seemed to fail. And that's what the recording was in my LP until it got scratched by almost dying. Then I realized, I needed to change that record and put a different record on to become something that I really was and wanted to be, and playing the right music and listening to the right music and having around people with the right tune playing in the symphony and having the right soil to grow from and all those metaphors that come along with it. But, what we don't know is how we project incompetence from the inside on both sexes, coming out, that what we're projecting electrically from our nervous system. And then, if we don't know that we can't, or we're not ready for something, how do you know that? Until you actually get on the playing field, and then, suddenly, you start getting that fear or the anxiousness
There are
about that.
times that you don't know.
But
And
that's what it's getting at. You don't know. And
because we all wear masks in some way, shape, or form, because
that's good,
of
Katie.
society, or because of past relationships, or because of family, or because of some other trauma in our lives. I mean, it could be anything. One story that I share is, for the longest time, I had the fear of abandonment. And it was traced back to me being a year and a half old in the hospital and having to stay overnight and watching my mom walk away with my newborn sister, thinking I was being replaced. Now, my year-and-a-half-year-old brain didn't understand that mom was coming back and I was in the hospital to be healed. But it took me, I mean, I'm mid-40s now. And this is something, oh, that's where that memory, that's where, I mean, my mom told me the memory because I couldn't really figure out where it was coming from.
Oh
But
God, yeah.
that was, the mask that I wore is that I'm fine on my own, when in actuality, I was terrified to be on my own. And so I know that, like, for job interviews, trying to put myself out there for a job interview, this energetic field of the nervousness was there because I felt like I had to prove that I was worthy because of that.
That's the path I was on, Katie. And there's a lot of things that we don't know that are carried from our childhood like that. I didn't know. Year and a half, that's impressive that you were able to have that impression, and that stuck with you that for that long. And a lot of it has to do with we're built. But the thing is, that's early. And so
Mhm.
you have this 1.5-year old being dictating your adult self. That's the things that we don't know
Yeah,
unless we get curious and go exploring and start opening our minds to that. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right.
yeah, and I had no idea that I didn't realize that it was connected to the emotion of abandonment. I didn't realize that it was connected to that memory until I had a conversation with my mom. And my earliest memory of being in the hospital was when I broke my leg as a teenager. And my mom was like, "No, you were in the hospital when you were like a year and a half, 2 years old. And you were yelling, screaming, and crying when I was taking your sister Stephanie and leaving because visiting hours were over." And I was like, okay, that right there sounds like the emotion of abandonment. I was afraid I was being replaced because you had a newborn infant and I was stuck staying there. Logically, it clicked then. But I mean, I wasn't looking on trying to heal it. I was just trying to explain what I was feeling. And thankfully, I was talking to my mom about it, so she was able to share that event with me. But sometimes it just takes, that moment of vulnerability to have the open and honest conversation with someone, whether they know our past or not, having someone we can have a conversation with. And then on the other side of the coin, being the person to hold space so someone can share their vulnerabilities and try and work through what it is that they're trying to articulate, because there's over 1,200 different words for emotions, but the majority of people use less than 10.
That's an interesting fact. Didn't know that. 1,200 words.
Yeah, I have a friend who does emotional learning for kids as young as 3, and building the vocabulary for our emotions is one of the things that she does.
I love
And
that.
so she sent me a list and I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many words here. And I know these words, but I don't use them in regular conversation.
Well, if I can switch just a little bit, I won't go too far off on the path and the rabbit hole, but a lot of times we're taught to use surface words.
Yeah.
We use brain words, but what we lack is the emotional, as you point out, heart words that are emotional, connected, and they're actually the root for these other words that come about a lot of times. And knowing those words has power, either limiting or having power the other direction and liberating. on that. And 1,200 words, for a guy who really studies words, that's a lot. Kind of boom, blew my head. did that. That's a whole lot. But how many words we've got to learn that? I guess is the thing is how do we move forward in
I
the
think
space that you create?
curiosity.
Curiosity is the major. That's exactly coming from the fear of things and getting curious of things. It's a major shift. That's the beginning, at least I've noticed, that once you start becoming curious, then we start exploring the possibilities, what could be. And my transition was with my dad, because my dad was taught by his dad in being stoic, and he was taught by his dad. And in being strong, stoic, emotionless, and typically in the gender at the time. And don't cry, leave your feelings, don't be that way, don't be wishy-washy and all those things. But what was happening is my dad was so stressed all the time, he would come across very angry. And sometimes he would be in a situation to where it would scare me. I mean, literally, it would scare me being the kid that I would go hide under the bed. And so I didn't have this relationship to him until I had the courage to come up to him when I was about 45 years old and said, because he got mad about something that we were going to do for July 4th. And what I found out, because I had learned at the point, I had opened enough space in my life that he wasn't angry about what we were doing. What he was angry is because he got left out. He wasn't asked. So I had that open conversation, and oh my gosh, we were able to have a real relationship at that point, because at one point in time, I was able to just be neutral and not react to it and open that space and let's just talk about this. And I understand, I want to understand your viewpoint on it. And when that happened, he actually started crying over that. So it was quite the emotional experience. It wasn't long before he passed away from cancer. So I'm very grateful I had that opportunity. But a lot of times it takes us so long to come to that space to say, I have the courage and to be vulnerable and open up that space to, well, let's talk. I have no idea what's on his mind. None of us do. Nobody knows what's on anybody's mind until we start talking.
Yeah, there's a great phrase that my mom uses, that you don't know what's going on behind someone's eyes and between their ears.
That's a great saying. That's a very wise saying.
Because, we all have our own inner monologue at any point in time. And even though we are present, unless we practice being present in the moment, we still have that inner monologue running through the back of our head. And we miss things because we're listening to that background chatter instead of what's directly in front of us. So for me, it's just the reminder of take a deep breath, clear my mind, and pay attention to what's going on right now. Because life can be fleeting at times. The universe is amazing. Time speeds up and time slows down depending on what's going on in your world. And
Yes.
we really don't want to miss anything.
And we so commonly do because we're not present.
And that's what I liked about this post. I mean, yes, she talks about her overcoming the trauma of a narcissistic relationship. And I'm sure everyone in some way, shape, or form can relate to that.
Agreed.
But it's taking the time to realize that we can choose the option of being triggered, or we can choose the option of looking for the glimmer, of looking for the positive, looking for the joy. And it is a tough shift. Yes. I mean, Ace knows, I know, and probably a lot of people who listen to your podcast and listen to ours know that it's a very tough shift to find the joy. And sometimes, tiny baby steps is all we can afford. But those baby steps grow into miles.
100%. And that's really the successful way. I mean, just think how long it took us to get up off our crawling nature from being 1.5 years old and actually start standing about 2 and then start running about 3, 4. That's years of progress. And we're pretty pliable at that age, but for the mind to be ingrained for decades, like mine was, make about 45 years, really up to about 50 years of life before it started opening up. And then now it took me now 5 years to get to this point where I could actually talk and be about things and be authentic. And I know where I stand and I know my boundaries and all those things. It's rewiring the mind. It's purposeful and it takes dedication and it takes guidance and it takes a community of support, a lot of love, and hand in hand walk together. And it's just like you got a transplant out of your old life and plant it into something that is going to support you on your mission and path. That's why vision and community and leadership, all those are so important, and mentorship as well. It's very important. If you want to get somewhere a little quicker, find somebody that knows how to do it successfully, do it the right way. And I'm not saying it's a patch that's going to fix you within a week or so, but I'm saying that instead of trying to figure it out on your own, get with somebody that can coach you the right way to get you where you want to go. So you're not making all the mistakes that we do, and then we can actually get on course of what does work. And that's, I think, big takeaway for me was that.
And having those relationships helps because there's been studies as to, someone who's standing at the base of a hill will look at a hill and try and decide how steep it is and how difficult it is to climb. You put a friend with them, it's not so steep. It's not so difficult to climb.
Yeah.
You put a loved one with them, oh my gosh, we can go over this in 2 minutes. What are you talking about?
Right. And it also takes courage to trust again.
Right.
I think that's
a good point, Ace.
That's like the biggest part, because the thing is, in order to even like ask for help or be a part of that or ask somebody to coach you, it comes down to like, you have to have courage to realize your intent is out there, have faith that it's going to work out, that you're going to feel better. Like, I think a lot of people, we desire to feel better after something bad has happened, right? So in the process of trusting the process, even if you've gone through the pain before, sometimes it's just hoping and feeling and just deciding that the worst is now behind me. I'm gonna get better. I need to grow. And I will find the right people to help me along the way. Don't get me wrong, you can do it on your own, you can. It's not as much fun.
I don't think we're meant to do it alone. I think that should be a good hint to everybody when you try.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why, back in caveman days, there were villages. It took the village to raise the child because everyone had a different perspective. Everyone had a different point of view. And some people are smarter than others because they've been there and done that. And we forget that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know everything. It's okay that if this path over here doesn't work out for you, that you can try this path over here and it might work out a little bit easier for you, because there's no one true way to do anything.
Yeah. And I think we're also battling that shame, right? It's like, you should be able to do this on your own. You're independent. You can do it. And should
is a swear word in my life.
Snaps to that.
I'll second that one.
Yeah. But I think
could have, and all those things are.
Yep.
Yeah. And interdependence is different than dependence, right? We are actually all interdependent to each other, specific to what William was saying, right? How we should be able to do it with others. I'm sorry, I'm saying should, Katie. I apologize, but
that's okay. Context.
I think when we can collaborate, things do move faster. There is power in numbers. And when it comes to being able to have somebody that can hold space with you to reflect on what those nervous tics are, what those what the disbeliefs are when your subconscious starts rattling them out. Like, it's so important that we have somebody there to kind of just show us that it's okay. It's okay. We beat ourselves up enough, right? And on the internal surface, that it's so important that, see my puppy affirms that that, like, unconditional love is real. Sometimes we need somebody else to show us what that is before we do it for ourselves.
That's a good one right there. And that's a completely energy shift. It's unconditional love, and in a narcissistic relationship, especially, that's completely conditional love, all based on your performance. If you satisfy me, if you don't, then I'm all twisted around. It's your fault. It's just the way they are. It's the way they believe it. And a lot of times that's generational teaching from their own trauma. They don't know they're actually doing this until they open their minds and, oh my gosh, it's because they never experienced unconditional love. Now I believe God taught us first to love, because he wouldn't know if he wouldn't. No one taught us. How would you know unless the condition exists that you actually came to somebody without an expectation and just shared the experience out of care, generosity, and things of that nature. No expectations other than who you are. You're fine the way you are. And then that gets into the community, where you join into the community because they appreciate that. Because you're authentic at that point. You're a real person. You're not hiding, like Katie said, you're not wearing a mask. You're just you. And there's nothing wrong with you. Just be you. You just be you. Okay. Some people like that, some people don't, but guess what? You're in integrity with yourself when you're being you. You're being authentic, and just let that reside. And whatever it is in your life that you need to accomplish, you don't accomplish it just by sheer fact of that alone. And I mean, be honest, had I not shifted and pivoted in my life, I would not be here today talking to you two, who I just love dearly, to meet. And we just met about 6 months ago or something like that, even at that. But you see the power of connection in the places we can go to get curious and whatever is possible, putting our hearts out there. Who are listening to this hopefully will come and be part of the tribe, whoever it is, but become part of the movement and part of the vision to heal and to help other people. That's basically what we're saying. There is a better world out there, and we can help you find that, and you can transform. You have the choice to make a decision, become a better version of yourself. So,
And sometimes all it takes is just being open to the possibilities. And that's why people play the lottery. That's a 1 in a million possibility, but they still play. And if we hold that same curiosity in finding a community, finding healers, finding friends, finding mentors, finding someone that we could have an honest conversation with and not feel judged.
Hey, there we go.
Hold on to that possibility, because it's out there and it will find you. But if you don't think it's possible, then you have blinders on and it'll go right past you.
Yeah. You believe it, you're right. If you don't believe it, you're right. It's just, you're right. The blinders is what we carry. And a lot of that's because of trying to protect ourselves and our own identity. We're afraid to be ourselves out there. Somebody might judge us. That was key, Katie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get into a situation where I've been in, where I've done the healing, and now it's like, well, who am I now? Because I don't fall under all of these old labels that I had given myself anymore. So who am I now? And that's a whole different sense of being uncomfortable. But one of my mentors said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because we're constantly growing, we're constantly shifting, we're constantly learning new things. And if we can just be okay with a little bit of discomfort, that's when growth happens.
Exactly. Again, had I not been a little uncomfortable to reach out and connect, then this would not exist. It's because we're living life. We're intentionally getting out there, taking a risk. Just getting out of bed is a high risk, medically proven. As you age, your risk of heart attack increases at the point of you waking up and get out of bed, because it's basically like an overdraw on a circuit. You get up and there's a lot of pressure vascularly that happens. And so that one transition puts you at high risk. But guess what? If you just don't lay on bed, you'll miss your whole life. And what'd you live? That was me. When I was laying on my deathbed, it's like, what did I live for? What was that purpose? And, did I get any joy and fulfillment out of it? And the answer was no. It just flat out wasn't. I was too busy pleasing other people, building other people's dreams, and being somebody I wasn't. I never was. But I spent so long doing that. That's what I expected to happen in my life, because what I expect is what I get on it, until I just lay down that deathbed. That was the wake up thing for me. It says, dude, you really don't sacrifice all your life for all this and not have happiness, enjoying your life? And I decided from that point on, I'm going to be me. Like me or don't like me, it's okay. I have no problem with it. And I want to go meet people who have vision and dreams, and they're going places to build something of beauty that's going to help other people, and it'll create a place for my kids, my grandkids, and their kids to enjoy. And that became important to me. So this is where I am right now, and I'm out doing exactly that. However that appears and manifests, it will happen because I expect it. It's intentional, and I get to have fun. I get to have joy with whoever I walk with. That's a prerequisite.
And I think, Katie,
Go ahead.
thank you. It's good. It's all good. I'm trying to talk before my dog talks before me. But I think, yeah, well, I love what you said about like you expect it. It takes practice. So it's not like an overnight thing. Like
No.
It's very similar to the comment that says charge your worth, but my body gets nervous before I charge my worth. That I get it, but it does take practice. It takes practice breaking through that fear barrier. Because for instance, I'll be transparent. My sessions are $300, right?
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was like, maybe I can give discounts. That was really bad. We can't do that anymore. Reason being is because like, it's not necessarily just your worth, but it's everything that you put into yourself to provide that service. So once you give discounts at that deficit, you can't provide that service anymore and you'll be at a deficit, right? So learning that what is that disbelief and what is that new programmed belief to put in place so that I do charge my worth, because this is how much I do for not just myself, but I do this for myself and for others. And this is where we're at. I think also in regards to like, I expect this to happen. Your mind has to get used to expecting it. Mm-hmm. So you have to put the practice in place. The first 3 or 4 times it might not happen. And that's fine. That's okay. But allow yourself that room. So let's say you're trying to manifest something. Don't put the goal like tomorrow. Probably not the best idea if you haven't done it before, but give yourself maybe 6 months, maybe 3 months.
Yeah, that's about right.
Right. I've tried to start small, Katie, and she's seen me do this. I'm like, oh, we're going to put it at this number. It like triples. All right. So for instance, I remember I was trying to speak to an audience of 7,000 people by the end of the year, 1 year.
And it resulted, didn't it?
It doubled. Not by the end of the year, but within like 60 days, right? It's great when your belief system, it's in place, but when you really challenge it to see what you really can do, and you'd be surprised how much power you really have to accomplish the things you never expected.
Right.
And it also falls back on what she was saying about how we internally feel, because I can verbally say that I'm going to manifest an extra $1,000 into my bank account next month. But if I'm not feeling it internally, I don't feel genuine when I say it, then it's not going to happen. You have to have that inner belief and that inner strength and that constant positivity to bring forth positive things into your world. You can't just demand it from the universe. You have to put in the effort for it too.
Yeah, I like that on 2 different levels, Katie. One, you just don't go to the universe as a big ass and then you receive. That's not right. It does
it's
work.
not an ATM.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, okay. There are times that would be nice.
It would be nice, and we can say that all we want, but a lot of times it's not ready to receive until you're ready to receive.
Right.
And that's that's a blessing that a lot of us don't understand. And I especially like what you said, Katie, because I relate to that statement. Because there for a long, long time, I was ready And I had been in business. I made money for, a lot of times, but I got to a point where I didn't believe in I could anymore. Even though I would say that, internally my script was running in the background, and it was sabotaging what I was saying because I didn't feel like I was worth it. I didn't feel that the accumulation of all the experience I've had, all the things I've gone through, was worth me charging a little bit of money for my time. Now I look at it from a completely different perspective. I look at it as there's this great big ship or something that is very unique out there, and then it's broken, and it's a very expensive, whatever it is, ship, machine, whatever you want to think about it. But it took me 40 years to get to that point to take a little device like a hammer or screwdriver and know exactly where to go to that ship and fix it where nobody else could. And then when I charged my bill, they asked me why it's so much. I said, well, the hammer is not that much. You're quite correct. But all that year invested in time where nobody else could fix it is the real bill, because that is a value. Otherwise, that ship would not be moving right now if it wasn't for me. It would be not making revenue and not being, where it is to you at that point in time. So it's not the thing that matters. It's the investment of what you can get for a result for somebody else that matters, and the price you paid along that journey to acquire that skill and that knowledge on it. And I'm not at the point of diminishing returns on time. So do I want to invest my time at a cheap discounted price? No, because I'm discounting myself, like A said. I'm giving discounts on my worth. And if I devalue myself, then you're not going to respect me. You're just not. Then you don't. And those people who want to get that discount they're usually taking from you, and they're not of a giving mindset, which is a whole different point of view that a lot of us are taught in the world to take. In order to survive, you need to take, and that's wrong. You need to give to live. That's the principle we should all look at for where we're working with ourselves and other people. So we're truly contributing and giving in order to receive, or we're taking away from somebody. If you start taking away something, you're blocking flow. When you're giving, you're opening flow. And I think that has to dive a lot into the nervous system. It's conditioned in order to block, hide, shunt, get away from. And that is a condition that we don't see on the surface. And we have to work through that. It's almost like a tuning field in a sense, that this is disharmonious right here, and it's not aligning to this harmony that we're creating. And it takes time to get all that synced. If sure. Be an analogy of the way things work in an energy field, which we're energy anyway. I mean, we're electromagnetic, believe it or not, folks. We have salt in our body, potassium, zinc, and copper, and all that. That means you conduct. That's why lightning likes to hit you sometimes. Maybe 1 in a billion times, but you conduct because you ground on it. So therefore, you have electromagnetic force. It's of attraction and rejection. And that's an energy signature that you emit, whether you know it or not. Most of us don't realize that. And that's what she's getting at, is the hurt. And that's a vibrational force within. Even though you're trying to project this is actually radiating through it. And I just loved what she said. I don't know if she realized the depth of what she said. Maybe she does. Then that's fantastic. But what I do realize is truthful.
Yeah. And I think, so I want to be very clear about what your worth is, right? Because your worth does not always mean monetary worth. And
absolutely.
And I know people do that, right? Like they're like, I make this much, this is my worth. And it's like, no. That's no, you're putting a price to yourself.
No, it's
not. Can buy you now.
Not.
No, that's not it. But for instance, like when you really acknowledge what your worth is, in my opinion, it comes down to, and check me on this, feel free. When you provide your service, what are the results? How does that change that person's life? For instance, one of the sessions that I provided, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm being honest, and this is why I'm also confident in the prices that I give. It's because this one person I helped, we helped them literally take depletion. She was pretty much almost dying, to the point where we were able to find all the blocks that were stopping her from becoming the CEO of her beautiful marketing company that she now has. And she makes tens of thousands a month plus, and then she's still growing. And she was only 22, but she was going through all the different types of trauma that could block you from that type of success. And that program was she took an accelerator program, so she did it pretty fast within like 6 weeks. And like I want to say $7,777.77. That is an expense worthwhile when you like more than 10x it, right? 6 weeks of that to make sure that you get to a six-figure salary from your own business. That's results. That's why the confidence in the price is perfectly fine. You know that the person's not going to break the bank or break their back. Instead, they're investing in a bigger vision for their life, and you're a part of that process.
I agree 100%. And let me just rephrase that. How much does it cost to go get college? And you may not even have a hope to even, well, you won't run a business more than likely and just get a job to recoup that. And we were all invested in something. More importantly, she invested in time.
She not just time. This woman she invested in her revival. That's the transition. The fact of the matter is she knew that something was pretty much like draining her and she didn't know what it was. And then we were able to figure out where we needed to do some energetic surgery to get her on the right path towards her success. And her success, not just mine. I was a part of it, yes, but her beautiful success, her internal revolution, and just being those guides with her along the way.
Money can always be made back. Money can be made back. What we're talking about is releasing a quality of life that you're living in, some sort of fruitful fulfillment that brings joy and happiness and peace.
I agree. I'm sorry, I started to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Please. I also know that there are money gougers out there, right? Take my coaching program. Don't really work with me. It's like my face on a video for $10,000 and you don't really get one-on-one time. I've seen that and I got that. But for those who actually care about their clients, I can get hate for this, I don't mind. But for those who really care about their clients, we understand that if you're making that investment, yes, you're still going to pay in full, payment programs, etc. But we know that what we're doing to support you will get you to what you truly want in your life. And that usually contains an income where you can sustain yourself.
I totally agree. You get somebody happy and joy and they're enjoying what they're doing in life. Everything lines up basically at that point. You're a released free soul. Yeah. That you can actually accomplish something in your life meaningful and have direction, purpose, living in your vision, all those things. But there's a lot of traps out there. I can, do this and you can do this in 90 days. But that may be true in some cases, but a lot of times it's just a business and it's ends to a means mainly on their end.
Which is again why there's no one true way to do anything.
No,
because there are some people who like to do let me just watch the videos, let me do the worksheets by myself, let me do this whole inner process and not actually verbalize what I'm going through. And that works for them. And then there are people who want to have the one-on-one coach to help hold their hand and hold them accountable. So, do your research. If you're looking for a coach, if you're looking for a mentor, have a conversation with them first. Make sure that it's going to be a fit before you invest, because it's not just your treasure. It's your time and your talent as well that you're investing. And investing in yourself provides more growth.
Absolutely. And you've heard testimony. Both these ladies are quite capable of taking you through places to get you to the other end where you can have a good life. I mean, something that's meaningful to you. Only you know what that is out there in the audience. We don't. Well, we do have practice and capabilities to help you get there and resources, past us. When you're looking at us, you're not just looking at us, you're looking at depth actually in behind us of people that we surround ourselves with. And that can actually help as well. So we don't have all the answers, and I know I don't. I'm definitely not the program, but I know somebody that might have answers, and I can connect you just as they can connect you to other people that can. So it's a matter of, do you want to make an impact in your life? Then come out of where you are And most of the time that's coming out of pain, and you want to change it, and you want to make a difference, that you can live a fruitful life that you enjoy. You're here once. I got seconds. Luckily enough, by the grace of God, I got a second time investment in me. But for most of it, it's just one time. So what do you want and where do you want to go? And we can show you how to get there. All you have to do is like comment here, and we'll contact you, and we'll have a lovely interview and see if we can be of service. And just because we care and you matter. It's simple as that. I don't know how to say it even plainer. But
And it's always fun meeting new people.
oh yeah, that's the fun part. At least I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. You know, it's always a new adventure. And where do we get to go? What are the possibilities of it? And you know, live like you mean it.
Absolutely.
Well, ladies, tell them about your podcast. I'm not. My apologies. I did not say where to tune in to this wonderful podcast you two have created. You might want to give them a quick history behind it. It's meaningful and it's raw most of the time. You know, you never know when you tune in, you're going to get something. I can tell you that. So it'll be fun.
You definitely get something interesting.
Yes, you do.
The podcast is called Touched and Empowered.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with a conversation between Ace and I. Both of us have been touched by things in our lives and have chosen to be empowered by them instead of victimized by them. And we've pretty much turned it into a chance for people to share their stories when our guests are on the show. And the rest of it is Ace and I just talking about how we're getting through life.
I'm here with you to say the same thing. Having a good time.
I mean, because we don't know where we are going to be tomorrow. We only know where we've been, but we, look at it from the standpoint as to how can we improve? How can we make it more? How can we raise the positivity level of the planet? Because the rising tide raises all boats, so we might as well bring everyone along with us.
Guess what? Your light matters, because without your light, we're not as bright as we could be.
Oh, I like that one too.
I'm like sitting on that one.
Oh,
That one might be a topic for one of our podcast episodes. What do you think, Ace?
I like that. That
I'll
sounds
listen to it.
great.
That's a bell ringer right there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I read this quote recently. So, speaking of different types of perspectives and understanding our highest light. So, I actually read this quote about.
Oh, you're looking it up?
I'm looking at because yeah, I'm actually gonna.
Good quotes are worth looking up.
Yeah, because I don't want to butcher it. You know me, Katie. I'm like
She's doing the Jeopardy tunes there. Did you notice that?
Yeah, we should add those in. I actually recognized, like, when you live in your purpose and your mission, right? When you're in that flow, it feels right. Sometimes it takes forever to get to that feeling of like, oh, this feels right. And you know it internally, and then you want more of it, right? So getting into that flow, what is that? What does that mean? And normally, Katie just kind of iterated it in her own words, which I love. There it is. So I'm actually Nichiren Buddhist. So I practice chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And then this is one of the texts that we read recently about. My mentor, who was Jose Toda at the time, his heartfelt wish was to eradicate misery and suffering from the world. The way to do that, he believed, is to help everyone bring forth their highest nature and reveal their highest humanity. And I agree. Like, I feel like a part of our mission on a subconscious or a conscious level, very similar to what Katie was saying, is to raise that vibration and help others, or at least enable others to our best ability to bring out their own highest nature so that we all can elevate together.
Well, okay.
Paying it forward.
Yeah, but exactly that. But just thinking from a vibrational standpoint, it takes a lot of current to vibrate at a low frequency than it does at a high frequency. And it takes a lot less current to vibrate at resonance.
It does. I also believe that Once you elevate in consciousness, you can't go back to the lower
No,
frequency. You're
you,
there,
no,
and then you keep
no,
going.
because it's again, it's liberation. Once you touch it, you feel it, you taste it, going back to what your passion, your life mission is. Once you taste it, you don't want to go back because everything is sour
That's true.
to it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so when I'm feeling in resonance, I don't have that. Well, let's just look at it from mitochondria. It's basically a transportive energy in your system. And so when it gets drained and you feel it charged, you know the difference between feeling energized and not feeling energized. And why would we want to feel depleted when we know that we can be charged and we know how to be charged?
Yeah.
And charged
So,
with something more sustaining than 3 cups of coffee first thing in the morning.
well, I'm talking about just right here. That's what I'm talking about. The vibrational energy between the three of us is lifting, it's self-sustaining. In fact, it's charging all of us.
Yeah. Katie, do we liberate people on our podcast? Is that what we do?
I,
Liberate.
I
There,
believe
I
that we
just saw
do.
a yes from Will. Okay.
Yeah, I believe that we do. If nothing else, we at least nudge them or at least shift them so they can see something behind the shadow that was always there that they didn't know was there before.
It's the beginning of awareness. And once you
Mm.
open that door, that door shuts behind you because you no longer go back because there's so much life out there. You taste life for once, real life. You don't want to just go back into your shell. You want to go play out in the field and learn more what's capable, what's possible, who's out there. And then you start realizing the energy signatures, and you'll find the ones that you want to bring along with you that may need a boost, and you'll find people who want to dwell in their grounding states. They just want to stay in the mud on it, and then you got to leave them there until they're open-minded enough, because not everybody's gonna open their mind, but the ones who do are the ones who are wanting change and they're wanting to go somewhere, and that's where we get to play and help and get them to a point where they can enjoy their life. And that's that whole process that is so fulfilling for both sides. That's when the energy starts coming up. That's when the low frequency is now coming up. It doesn't take as much current draw. You want to be there. You want to show up. You want to go explore different possibilities, meet new people, see the world. And it's just the way it is. And you need to find people like that. We are an average sum of the 5 most closest people we hang with. So I want to ask you, I want to challenge you, what vibration level are they hanging at?
Okay, let's talk about that for a quick second. I promise. I know it's another podcast, but like I will
It
put a
is.
little nugget in there, just a
Do
small
it.
one. All right. So what I have recognized, there are people out there that don't want to get better. They don't want to change.
That's
And,
right. We do.
and that's okay. Kind of
Yes.
you have to let that go.
Yes.
This is a very beautiful warning for you. Let them go.
Otherwise, you're going to drain.
Not only just drain, but it's going to actually stop your progress.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if you're already like at that consciousness of like, I want to get better, I want to grow, I want to change out for the better, right? You're already there to the point where you're living that fullness of life because you're doing it, you're changing, you're growing as you're supposed to throughout life. Yeah. If there's somebody that's like, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. Did you see how my arm is pulling you down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You either let them go or you drag them along, and that's just gonna.
It's just like trying to save a drowning person from flailing around. Might drown you too.
I feel like, yeah, exactly. I don't feel like you can actually you can try dragging somebody.
You can try dragging someone along, and you will find yourself stuck and stopped and not moving at the pace that you are intended to move at.
Yeah.
It's easier, believe it or not, to let them go with all the love in the world. Let them go with love, let them go with positivity, and you will just accelerate.
What that means is you're not that person for that person at that point in time. And you recognize that.
And that's okay. And that's okay. Fine. That's okay. I
feel
feel like a lot of people don't think it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's okay.
We're taught,
that doesn't
right.
Exactly. And that doesn't reflect your self-worth as a person.
Exactly.
Right. A lot of the times. Huh? I'm sorry. I keep like, but I just
no, I know. I just said bingo. Ace wins. She got bingo card.
Oh, thank you. We should have those across the board. Bingo. But it's true because a lot of the times we don't want to let go because we're like, why weren't we good enough for them to grow as well? And that's a disbelief that a lot of people have, or a belief that people have. And I feel like That's not the case. I think you can always appreciate and be grateful for the person for acting as that function to help you grow. And then you take your power back.
That's biblically correct, Case. Everything that you say is biblically correct. We're not meant to serve because in God will have a plan for that person, and you're not part of that picture. Then why are you in that picture? You need to get out of that picture.
Yeah. Yeah. Get out,
Okay?
get out.
You
Do
just
you?
need to go because that is not your plan. That is not your purpose, and you're not there to. It's not your job. Let's just put it that way. It's not your job to do it. You can offer it, but it doesn't work out. Go somewhere else. Somebody else needs you more than that person.
And not only does it open up a space in your bubble for you now to receive your new mentor,
And
it
money.
opens up and money. It opens up a space in their bubble. So then the next person who can help them on their personal journey can step in because there's now space for that.
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
That came out so fast, Katie. I'm so sorry.
I know it was, but that's okay. You do you, honey.
Oh, it's so real though.
I love facial expressions. She kills me.
That's why we have so much fun when we do these.
I know. Oh, it brings so much life. And this, like I said, this is always fun getting together and having conversations. You know, we have serious conversations about life that really are meaningful and helpful to people and liberating and all these things. But see, again, we choose to have fun doing this and creating. That's a choice that we hang our hats on. We're going to mean something out there, but you know what? We're gonna have a lot of fun, and y'all missing out because you're not joining in, but you should. Look.
And
Wow,
there's Midnight joining us, making an appearance like always.
All right, we'll see. Now here is the real. Here is the real.
Come on, screen puppy. I love you. Yeah, she is a puppy. She's not 1 year old yet. I love you. I know she's huge, but yes.
That's the key player in this game right there. That
bringing joy, yes.
Bringing joy and love. All right. Well, we're about an hour into this, and again, I want to give kudos to Trish Lynn at Trish Lynn's show in Canada. I love her dearly, and she just put out this nugget, and we just wanted to take a moment and talk about this because it's real and it matters, and there's a lot of people there wondering why these things are happening. And this is a good point that this might be you, and you might want to go find out a little bit more how we can get by this and how we can heal to where we can actually get to where we want to go. So just a shout out to Trish Lynn, and I will be interviewing her as well on this same subject and let her perspective come out and talk about this as well, because this is something that needs to get out and seriously talk about. And healing is a must, and we don't know if we're hurt. We're probably hurt somewhere. we need to go look under the hood. That's why I'm saying mentors are important, coaches are important, and everyone needs one. Because you never know when you get out of alignment and you get off in a ditch somewhere and you get knocked out. And then you wonder why you're wobbling down the road with your vehicle, just then it's just wearing everything out. And it really needs to be checked up on. And this is an opportunity for everybody to connect with Ace and Katie or myself. Yeah. And just have an honest conversation and talk about what it is that's impeding you from where you want to go. It's just that simple. See what happens.
Absolutely.
Take the risk. It's best in yourself. It's you.
And I know that at least with the three of us, it's all judgment free.
Yeah.
We all know everyone has their own story.
Lord Almighty, the things I did before, I can't judge anybody. I can't.
We've all got stories.
Yeah.
We've all got stories, and we all truly believe that, holding space for someone allows that first step in healing.
Yeah. Get out of jail. Let's unlock the jail bars first and we'll let you out for a second. Then let's have talk. Let you have a taste of freedom. All right. Ladies, thank you so much. I really, dearly appreciate you both. Again, this is such fun, and get to talk about some cool things and that help people and lift them up. So again, thank you everybody in the audience, and connect. I will put a link for everyone to connect to us, and we'll see you on the next episode. And hopefully it'll be Trish, so we can have a sequel to this event. So I can invite Katie and Ace, and they can bring the popcorn and listen to this one.
Sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun. Yes.
All right. Well, God bless everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We'll see you soon.
Bye.